Hello everybody, this is for week 2, MPA 510, the Multimedia Discussion Board. Once again, I'm Abby. Today we'll be talking about Max Weber, Frederick Taylor, Leonard White, and Mary Follett. So Max Weber, he is considered one of the founders of modern sociology. He is also credited with creating the bureaucratic theory of management, which is a system for controlling or managing a company or organization that is operated by a large number of officials. And they do this by implementing rules, policies, and procedures to ensure max efficiency is reached by that organization. We see this evident in police departments. Starting at the top of the rung, because they have a hierarchy, we have a chief of police, we have captains, we have lieutenants, we have sergeants, under them corporals, police, and they have miscellaneous civilian staff, which would include dispatchers, evidence, records, public information services, code enforcement, and a couple of other departments. So this specific approach is not fond of creativity, collaboration in the workplace. What they're thinking is, hey, here's this task. I want you to do it this way. Don't deviate from that. And that's basically what his approach kind of encompasses, and that's very different from what we're going to talk about next. Frederick Taylor, he is credited with the theory of scientific management. His theory relies on the idea of having a systematic approach, and they use scientific methods to measure and manage individual work elements. So it wasn't they didn't concern themselves with people. It was more, what can I do to make the work more efficient? What can I do to get more labor out of my employees? They could care less about the employees themselves and how they feel at the end of the day. And my comparison with that, a modern day example, I used to work for a warehousing company. It was called AC Pro, and I can't even tell you what my boss looked like. I don't remember. I rarely met him. I'm sure I heard his name in passing, and that's the only way I know him. But he had people under him, subordinates, that would tell us what to do. And when they told us, they left it clear, what they expect of us. But it was and how we were to meet a certain quota. And if we weren't to meet that quota after a certain amount of times, then more than likely they were going to let us go because it was not meeting their work goals, or to their goal of being efficient in the department. So what I really want to point out is that warehouses, I think, today still follow this Frederick Taylor's approach. I'm sure it's in moderation, of course, but it's very different how this combination of elements has shaped the way workers are to work and how they apply themselves based on these principles. It's more based on numbers and results than it is on about the employee. Alrighty, Leonard White, he was very unique in his approach towards the study of public administration. He evaluated it with uniformity, he based it on 4 basic assumptions when he evaluated it, which is that it's a single process, that it should start from the base of management, and that the administration itself is transforming into a science, which at that time that's the problem that came with public administration, why there was such a dichotomy between politics and public admin. His definition of public administration, it was the management of men and materials in the accomplishment of the purposes of the state. So their purpose is to make the most of the resources at their disposal as officials or employees. And the public administration, what they do is make sure the purpose of the fulfillment is fulfilled, that is what the resources that were gathered, that decision making at the end, that they're the ones that execute that and make good on what was originally proposed. So basically, that the administration is the coordination and control of a number of people who are coming together to achieve that purpose or objective. For example, a modern day example, this is how he's distinguishing it. Public administration is very different from public law, because public law is based on protecting the public rights. It comes from the public and providing that protection of their rights. And that is the contrast, the big difference between public administration, because it's more efficient management, and not, their duty is not to protect the public rights, but more so it starts at management and trying to find a solution based on original information. It's not about protecting people's rights. It's harnessing the enforcement and not the creation of. Mary Follett, she is one of my favorite women in history, not just because she's a woman, but because what she brought to her table. Her knowledge, her ability to think beyond the comforts or the boundary lines of what people deem comfortable. So she really tore down the walls of knowledge, and I dare say found this newfound knowledge that became a new generational thinking. It was beyond that time. She genuinely wanted to approach organizations as a whole, meaning in a group setting, as opposed to hierarchical structures, and thinking more, taking more of a Max Weber approach. She really saw the value in personal interactions with the employees and building that community feel, and she found that that was what resulted in the maximum efficiency for the people. And today we can see that evident in Google. Google has millions of employees, and their employees work together in a community, and they are expected to work in community and to bounce ideas off of each other, and to test their ideas, to experiment, to find different ways to do the same thing, and which one is the better way. So they're really practicing her approach, and they also bring forth that new era of thinking, or that new generational thinking I was talking about, and they practice it and they see results. They reach that maximum efficiency goal. In this type of thinking and setting, creativity, flexibility, it's encouraged. They want you to find different ways to do the same thing. They want you to mess up and find another way to do the same thing but not mess up, but you have that flexibility and that outlet for creative growth. It's encouraged, and they want you to, as a leader, to build a leader. They want the leaders to inspire the employees to inspire their creativity and passion to come to work. They want you to come to work, be happy to be here, be happy to do your work, and find different ways. You feel more a part of the goal, as opposed to being in competition with other people, because you're in that type of setting. Alrighty, as we wrap up, I just want to note that I do believe that the concepts that each of these four people, Weber, Thale, White, and Follett, bring forth are very much still relevant today. However, I do believe that in moderation they have changed in order to meet the needs of a department or organization. And they may not practice every single aspect of each theory, but I can see how organizations have taken a piece of Weber, a piece of Thale, a piece of Follett, and combined that, and have molded their specific type of leadership strategy to garner the trust and loyalty of their employees. If you guys have any questions, comments, drop them down below. Thanks for listening.